Hey everyone, how's it going? Eric here, hope you're doing good today. In this video, we're gonna be talking about Moka Pots, aka Stovetop Espresso. Before we get into that, just give me a quick like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment at the end of the video, and as usual, affiliate links down below. Support the channel. If you wanna buy anything that I talk about, please consider using affiliate links. That's how I can get more gear to review. All right, let's get into it. These little guys, popular sometimes, not so popular other times. Right now, they're kind of going up again. That's because people want to make espresso drinks at home. Now, is this espresso? Technically not. Espresso is brewed at a much higher pressure, and espresso is Espresso is a much higher concentration, usually a 1 to 2 or a 1 to 2.5 kind of concentration level, where this is more closer to a 1 to 10. Also, the pressure is a lot lower, so you're not going to be getting as much dissolved solids in it. It's just a little less thick. It just doesn't have that like heavy head on top, but it's still good, and you can still use it to make espresso-like beverages. There's nothing against this. It is not espresso exactly, but it's still a strong cup of coffee that you can enjoy. It's also really easy to make. Now, the problem with Moka Pots is that they are easy to use. They don't take much effort. They're in fact one of the easiest ways to make coffee. There's not that much you can do to mess it up, but there's also not that much you can do to improve it, and that seems to be the gripe that a lot of people have. It makes a strong cup of coffee, but it's hard to get nuance out of that cup of coffee, taste different flavors, everything kind of tastes the same. It's hard to be consistent sometimes. You know, it also is just kind of a, it's a black box. You put things in there, coffee comes out. How do we improve that? So I'm gonna, in this video, give you a few tips just to help you improve your Moka Pot. If you use any of these tips, your coffee will get better. If you use all these tips, it will get even better. So let's go through this list and let's see what we can do to improve our Moka Pot coffee. Firstly, let's just go over the basics of making a Moka Pot. You got your Moka Pot. It comes in usually about 3 parts. These are 3-cup Moka Pots. This one is very well worn. I've had it for well over a decade, maybe close to 2 decades. There's 3 parts. There is the base where you put your water. There is the top, which will percolate and bring the coffee into this. You have your filter number 1 here. You have your puck, I don't know what you want to call this thing. I don't know, little coffee holder. More or less, you just want to fill this guy up with coffee, right? You want to put water in here just below the little pressure valve kind of release thing here. You want to put the coffee, very full thing of coffee in here, screw it together, and then you're going to want to bring it to a low boil. And as it boils, the coffee will come out of the top, and then it's going to give you a strong cup of coffee. That is the basics. That's how you do it. It's very simple. It doesn't require much know-how. We can do better though. So the first thing I want you to do if you want to improve your coffee is to try to use freshly ground coffee and freshly roasted coffee. That's the number 1 tip for all kinds of coffee making. No matter what kind of coffee you're making, that's the number 1 thing you can do to improve your coffee. Freshly roasted coffee and hopefully freshly ground. So if you have a coffee grinder, preferably a burr grinder, that means not a blade grinder, the one that looks like a little propeller that spins, that's not really ideal for this kind of coffee making. A burr grinder will be great. They're not all made equal. Some of the ones that I like to recommend that are kind of on the low end of prices, you know, things like the Baratza Encore, you know, something out of Turin, maybe something out of Fellow. These are good grinders, but they are a little pricey. And I understand if you don't want to invest $100, $200 into a grinder. What I can recommend though, if you don't have a grinder, or if you're putting off getting one or saving up for one, maybe have your local coffee roaster grind it for you on the stovetop coffee setting. Tell them you want to make it for Moka Pot or Stovetop Espresso, and they'll grind it up for you. And you're going to probably use that within a week, so it's relatively fresh. Option 2, another thing you can do is some grocery stores, definitely Trader Joe's, definitely Whole Foods, any of the bigger grocery stores will have a coffee grinder in the store usually. You can grind it on the Moka Pot setting there. Just make sure that you clear it out. There's a little thing to flick on the side there, and that will definitely, there might be some French vanilla jazz ground up or French press stuck in there. You want to get that all out first. First thing, freshly ground coffee, freshly roasted coffee. That's the best way to improve your coffee. You know, the next rule is to weigh your measurements. The next tip to improve your coffee is to weigh out your measurements. For a 3-cup Moka Pot, the ratio usually is 1 to 10. That's good for dark roast, that's good for medium roasts, 1 to 10. So that means for every 1 gram of coffee that you're putting in here, 10 grams of water. Now, it's pretty easy math. And what you want to do is you want to just find a place to weigh out your coffee on a coffee scale or on a baking scale. It doesn't matter. You just want to be able to get this consistent so it tastes the same every time. I know this seems like a pain, but believe me, this is the way to get better coffee. Just always doing it the same way, always having the same measurements. It really helps you keep track of things. It really helps you know how the taste changes. If it's one day 18 grams or one day 22 grams, it's really going to be a different animal. So I really recommend, if you can, you get a hold of a cheap scale, just, tear out your guy here, tear out your little Moka pot here. Hopefully yours is stable enough to use this guy as a little holder, and then you can weigh into this coffee holder here, put about 20 grams, that'd be the ideal ratio, and then you're going to take your base here and you're going to add 10 times that in water, so 20 grams, 20 times 10, 200 grams of water. This, my old beat up Moka Pot right here, this guy here, my old faithful, it's got a smaller basket, and you're gonna see in my little recording that I can only fit 15 grams in that basket. I just have a smaller basket. Don't judge me for my basket size, all right? Come on. That's also partially because I'm using a slightly lighter roast coffee, and it might weigh a little bit more than a dark roast coffee, but just find out where your basket is comfortably full, and then do that ratio to water. So if you got 15, 150. If you got 20, 200 grams of water. If you got 18 grams, 180 grams of water. Okay, before we weigh out our water, we're actually gonna blend step number 2 and step number 3 together because the water is an important part of your brewing process. This is another step to improve your Moka Pot. What you're gonna do is you're going to be putting hot water in here. Water a little off the boil if you can. You wanna be careful because when you do screw things together, you don't want to be burning your hands, but you wanna put some pretty hot water in here. Don't get caught up in the weeds too much on the exact temperature. All you know is you want it to be hot, not quite boiling. You just wanna start hot. It's gonna give you a better brew, just trust me. Okay, so we're reassembling our little Moka Pot transformer. We've got 200 grams of hot water in the base. We got 20 grams of freshly ground fresh coffee in the chamber. And this is step number 4. Now this is optional, 100% optional. This is only if you care about siltiness in your coffee, if you feel like there's a little bit of grit in there and you don't like that, you can get these little Aeropress filters. They're very, very cheap. There's the standard Aeropress size, and they will just go right here, and they will basically block out any of that silt that's gonna come up and slip through those little holes. That will give you a smoother cup. It'll give you a better tasting cup, a better mouthfeel. You'll enjoy that. If you want to put that in there, that's optional. But if you are gonna put that in there, one thing that I recommend doing is maybe just going over to the sink, doing a little bit of holding this upside down, pouring a little hot water on here to rinse out that paper, let it drip out, and then you're gonna assemble. So we're gonna assemble a little transformer. Come on, old faithful. Oh, listen to that squeak. Okay, and now we're ready to go to the stove. What we're gonna do on the stove is the most active part of the brewing. We're gonna put it on our stove. It does not matter if it's gas, it does not matter if it's electric. If you have one of those fancy induction burners, you're not gonna be able to use a Moka Pot probably because they're made out of aluminum. But you could buy a little steel plate to put on there. They do sell those. I'll link one below. Anyway, that is an adapter. That steel plate will get hot and then it will heat up this, and we're gonna start our brewing. We're gonna brew with this open. When you actually have your Moka Pot on the stove, and please don't judge the way my stove looks, those glass tops are impossible to keep looking clean. I wiped it down, I clean it every day, all right? So when you're at your stove, and you're gonna wanna crank up the heat if you think things are taking a little bit longer, but just try to resist that. What we're gonna do is we're going to turn the heat kind of a medium, and as things start happening, as it starts percolating, as it starts brewing, once you start seeing the coffee coming out of the spouts, we're gonna watch it, okay? We're gonna not have the heat blasting. We're gonna kind of keep it on a medium low. Once we start seeing that is brewing, we're gonna do one of two things. If you have a gas burner, what you could do is you could have your hand on the gas, and you could, as you see things start to go faster and faster, you could slow down that gas. If you have an electric burner, what I like to do is I just lift it up a little bit. So once things start going real fast, you want to slow things down before it really boils. Because if it gets too hot, it's going to give you bad tasting coffee. So once things start going fast, you want to just basically lift it up a little bit or lower that heat, and let the brew kind of slow down. You can really start to time this just by the music of the Moka Pot. You'll hear the water starting to heat up. You'll hear it rushing out through the top. It's pretty cool, but then you're gonna wanna cut that heat back. You're gonna wanna lift up your Moka Pot. You're gonna wanna try to get a good amount of liquid out here. Now, like I said, this little guy, yours might fit 200, this guy does 150. You're not gonna get all that water out. That's not what you're trying to do. You're gonna get about 2/3 of that water out if you did a good job. But no matter what, you're gonna end up with coffee. And the fun part is playing with it. So just aim to go low and slow. You don't want it to be gushing. You want it to go nice, smooth. And if you start seeing it kind of jumping and gushing out, then you're going a little too hot. So next time, slow it down a little bit. You could cool it down by running it under cold water, but I think that's overkill. I think just adjust, learn, lift it up off the heat a little higher next time, go a little slower next time. If you are going to split it between 2 people, give it a stir. If you're going to fill it up in your own cup, you are going to just pour it into your cup and you're going to enjoy. And what you're going to do from there is you're going to take some notes. Did this taste too strong? Did it taste too weak? Am I going to adjust it? It tastes a little too strong for me. I'm going to go down to 19 grams next time and see how that tastes. Oh, it tasted a little too weak to me. I'm going to go to 21 grams if I can fit it and see how that tastes. That's going to give you control of the brewing process. Now, there is one little extra thing to know. If you are the kind of person who's getting really light roast coffees, very light roast coffees that are very fruity, very floral, very delicate, you're going to want to do a 1:11 ratio instead of a 1:10 ratio because you're going to need a little bit extra water because you're going to need to brew this at a higher temperature. So it's not something I really recommend. I don't think light roast coffees really pop when it comes to a Moka Pot, but I think a nice medium or medium light roast coffee is good. But if you're going to do light roast, add a little extra water, just a little extra 10 grams in there so that you have room to go a little hotter in the beginning before you're easing off the boil. If you are using a bigger Moka Pot and if you got a 6 cup, you're doing it for 2, this is actually, you're not doubling the amount of everything. Though you are getting a bit more liquid, you're actually going to be doing 30 grams of coffee and you're going to be doing about 300 grams of water. So try it out, play with this, check it out, see if this improves your brew. Hopefully this is a good guide, a good starting point for you when it comes to making your Moka Pot at home. A couple things that I like about Moka Pots is because it's such a strong brewer. It's, of course you can enjoy it as it is, just fresh out of the pot, but you can also use it for diluting. It's not as strong as espresso, but it's great for if you're a milk drinker and you like to drink coffee with milk. It will give you a stronger coffee flavor. If you like to make iced lattes, it will also give you a stronger kind of more espresso-like potent flavor than if you were just using brewed coffee. It's also really, really great for making an iced Americano-ish drink, just pouring it over ice. That will really give you a better experience than if you were pouring it directly from a coffee brewer. If this video spoke to you, if you're enjoying playing with your coffee, if you're enjoying getting a little bit more involved in weighing things out and getting it more precise and enjoying the new flavor that you're getting out of it, might I recommend adding an Aeropress to your arsenal. Aeropress is another very, very easy brew method that doesn't need much. You just need hot water and coffee to make this thing work. These are the filters that we use for the Moka Pot. They go right in there, and it's just another kind of brew method that you can use to make coffee, but I think that it gives you a little bit cleaner of a flavor, it's a little bit easier to control because you're not doing it directly on the stove. And I think that if you did enjoy this whole process, you might enjoy Aeropress as well. I have a video linked here about Aeropress somewhere up here. It's a long video. You can just skip to the part where I actually brew. I talk a lot and everyone knows that. But if you do want to watch the whole video, that's fine. But I really think that if you enjoyed breaking down the Moka Pot and getting into the willy-nilly, getting to the weeds of coffee, then you really, really would enjoy brewing on an Aeropress. Another fast, convenient, easy way to make a great cup of coffee. All right, that's all I have for you all today. Thank you so much. Please like, please subscribe, and maybe comment, all that stuff. All right, bye-bye.